Moms Living the Dream Life, how to raise a happy family while building the business of your dreams. The reason I put this show together is because I want to empower moms to say yes to their dreams, that it is possible to raise a happy family, build a business, have self-time, like take care of themselves. And for that reason, I found 21 mompreneurs that have already managed it, they've created it, and they're living their dream life. So for that reason, today I have amazing Fabi with me, Fabi Paolini. And Fabi is a mother, married, happily married, and she is a brand strategy coach and transforms entrepreneurs into online brands that attract and businesses that break through. Fabi focuses on building businesses completely from the inside out, from brand messaging to web design, as well as building a solid online marketing strategy. She has worked with hundreds of service-based entrepreneurs over 11 years and has built a successful multiple six-figure business herself. So I think she is perfect for this interview series, and she is going to share with us her secrets of how she has done it. Hello, Fabi. How are you? Thank you for being here.
I'm super excited to be here today and to be able to share this with you. And it's so important too, because, you know, the more moms that there are out there that are building their own dreams and living in purpose, the better. I always feel like that. So
yeah, exactly. I think we have so much to give. We have so much, and we don't say yes to big dreams. We play it safe in a way. So, but here, that's why you're here today to share with us what you have done and how actually it all began. Like, was it your dream ever since you were a little girl and saying that I want to have my own business? Or what was that thing that influenced you to say yes?
Well, what happened was since I was in college, the truth is that I always thought I studied advertising and I started working in advertising. So my plan was always, I'm going to work in advertising for a few years. I'm going to learn as much as I can. And then I'm going to build my own little boutique ad agency. That was my idea. Uh-huh. It didn't end up happening like that, because what happened was I started working in advertising and then I fell in love with branding, which is completely different than advertising. So I started going in that direction. And like you said, I was playing very small dreams at first, had a very small business in Venezuela, which is where I'm from. And then, but I was successful, it was really easy. I had a really good word of mouth business. So I had referrals coming in all the time, people coming in that I never had to lift a finger to bring a client in. It was just people would come in and it was super easy, but it was obviously because I didn't have to do any marketing. I was playing super small, in my little bubble hidden. So in about 2016, we moved from Venezuela to the US. Mm-hmm. And when I moved, it really changed things for me, because I didn't have a network of people that I knew. I didn't have contacts. I didn't have anything, because I hadn't built my own business online at all for all these years, or all those years. I've been doing this for about 11 years. So, it was like, okay, now what? And it forced me to play bigger and start having bigger dreams and really put myself out there so that I could really build a successful business. In the process, I had my daughter, just at the same time as I moved to the US. She was born, and it was like building a business and becoming a mom at the same time.
So it's possible, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And so I guess, did any fears, while that was all happening, your daughter and building your business and you're totally starting all over, were there any fears that came?
No, not at all. Of course, there's always. No, what are you talking about?
That's amazing.
No fears at all. What?
I need you by my side.
No, of course, there were a million fears. And I had fears and doubts around myself, around my capacity. It was a lot of it was around, am I really, is it okay for me to be successful? It was more, I feel now looking back, it was a lot more fear of success than fear of failure, because it was what does it mean if I'm really successful? What if I outshine my husband and in his career and what he's doing? So that part was difficult. But in terms of being afraid of, of how to balance being a mom in my career, that part I wasn't afraid. That part didn't bring up fears, believe it or not, because for me, I really felt like it was a perfect business model for me. Being able to build my business from my house. I mean, I have a home office, and being able to be present for my daughter at the same time, it was perfect for me. And giving her that example, right, of growing up, seeing her mom being successful and working, it was really important for me. So
That's
that part was,
great. That's great, because that's like a perfect mindset, because sometimes like what will come up to me like was that if, oh, the kids are going to make noise, oh my God, I have an interview, or I have I'm working with a client and my kid just like walks into the room, and it's like, oh my God. But if you have that all set out and like cleared out, that's awesome. It just help you a lot with, overcoming that fear. But oh, that is awesome. And so how did you
I wanted to say something about that. One of the things that I felt with that in particular is that, at first I felt like, oh my God, I have a daughter here, I have a client call, or I have something, and then I realized that I didn't want to have a client if they weren't going to accept that,
Exactly.
and feel like, wow, this woman, look at how cool she's building her business with her daughter right there, right? So if it bothered somebody, that wasn't the client for me. And it actually, for me, it was kind of that way. Like, you know what, if you don't like it, we're not a match for each other. Don't.
So that's how you work. That's amazing, because that's how you work with the clients that you want to work with, the people you want to be surrounded with, people that you really truly want, and that.
Exactly. And then, I literally, I have a photo, and I'll send it to you afterwards so that you can show it here if you want, of me working with my daughter on my lap. I mean, I had one of those big pillows, and I would sit on the computer, and she would fall asleep on my lap, and I was breastfeeding her, and she would sleep there, and I was just working, and she was, I mean, obviously I wasn't doing calls breastfeeding, but she was there with me all the time. And for me, that was really, really important. And even, if I was doing like Facebook lives or anything, she would always pop up at the like worst moments, of course. But it just made it even more endearing. And people were like, what I really noticed is that the videos that got most engagement were the ones where she would pop up randomly. And it was just so spontaneous, obviously, because she's almost 3 right now, but she might have been smaller or whatever. It was just really spontaneous, and her talking and saying hi to the camera, and people really liked that. So it kind of just made me even stronger as a brand.
Awesome. Yeah, because that helps you overcome that fear, or that story that, oh my God, the kid is is like, popping up everywhere. That is awesome. That's beautiful, and that's nice. That's really nice to share, because that's one of the stories that hold back moms to step forward. Awesome. So, and you and your husband, you said your husband has his own career also. So did you have support from him, or how do you guys support each other, and how do you balance that relationship between you and him, and the relationship as a husband and a wife, and your time together and business?
Well, I kind of feel like for me, his support was fundamental. I don't think that I would have gotten the success that I have without his support at all. And we've always been extremely supportive of each other. My husband is a singer, and he's very successful in Venezuela. He's famous there, and he just
let us know.
yeah, of course. He just signed a really big record deal here in the U.S. with the biggest record label in the world. So it's kind of like all this stuff going on. And obviously I'm part of his team. Like, I work for him, but he also works for me, because right now this is really funny. Not a lot of people know this. He's the one that does my Facebook ads. He did a course on Facebook ads just because he liked it, and he's like, okay, well, I'll do it. And he's the one that every day goes in and checks my face. So we kind of support each other in different parts of our businesses, which is funny. But it was really, really important to have that support, especially the emotional part, because I feel like, obviously, we're really hard on ourselves sometimes, right? Not sometimes. I mean, we're really hard on ourselves, and we're like, will I make it? Will am I really good? And we have all these doubts and imposter syndrome and all these things. And having somebody from the outside saying like, what are you talking about? You're amazing. Let's go. We can do this. And having, like, I always say that my husband is the best coach,
That's what
even
I
though
say.
he's not a coach, but he's the best coach. And it's the same way for both ways. But I do have to say that for a while, especially when I was in the kind of in the beginning phases of having to grow my business, and there was a lot of pressure. It was one of the things that was a little bit difficult as a couple, as a relationship, was that everything revolved around work. Everything revolved around, like, all the conversations were around my career, what was going on with me, or what was going on with him. So that's a little bit difficult. And then obviously, fortunately, we got through that phase, and now it's like we can have normal conversations. It's kind of like when you have kids, and then the only thing that you talk about are the kids. Yeah. That's what it felt like when I was launching my business again. Like, the only thing we would talk about was my work. And now it's like, okay, now we're normal.
Oh,
talk about normal.
That's what I was going to ask you, how you overcame it. But you gave the perfect example is when you have kids, and usually the father or the husband, like he's the one that feels neglected. Usually, like, moms is like, okay, mom building my business, we focus, we're like, okay, we'll put everything else on the side. But then that's awesome that you guys now have balanced everything out. And have you like, do you guys have date nights, or like during the week, or do you guys have like a plan that no work from that certain time and on? Like, how do you guys
so we don't, I mean, we have, not that we plan it as date nights, but sometimes we go out on the weekends and we leave our daughter with a nanny or whatever. And then I do have very strict boundaries with myself with work, and I'm very, very strict with them, because before, maybe a year and a half ago, I didn't have those boundaries, and it took over everything. So I would work all the time, and I would be like, no, I'm not working, but I would be like at 11 o'clock at night checking my email and writing stuff and working all day, and the weekends and everything. So I became really, really strict with, once I stopped working, whatever time it is. Now it's earlier, because my work, because I have the way that I have this, like, systems built in my business and everything is automated. I really, fortunately, for the past, I think, like 3 or 4 months, I've been working not so many hours a day. And I've been super, it's really crazy. The less that I work, the more successful I am right now, right? So I got to that point. So right now, when I stop working, whatever time it is, whether it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon or it's 5 o'clock or 6, depending on the day, emails is off, and that's it. And I don't work anymore. And then on the weekends, I don't even sign into my email at all. So I don't even sign into Facebook. I sign out of Facebook at night after I stop working from my phone, right? Sign out of Facebook and sign out on the weekends, and it's like completely off. And I'm there for my husband, I'm there for my daughter, and that's it. And then the other thing that we usually do is that we put our daughter to sleep at around 9 p.m., which is a little bit late, but it is what it is. Yeah. And then once she falls asleep, which is usually like at 9:30, 10.
Not late.
Working. We have like our time together, and we binge watch shows on Netflix or whatever, and we have that time for ourselves. So, because we go to sleep really late, like at 12:31, something like that.
Oh, wow. Are you an early bird after that?
No, I mean, I wake up like at 8. Okay. So to get my daughter ready for school. So it's not that bad.
Yeah. So as you say, so you believe, like, not that you believe, I guess you have the proof for that, is that everything started working out like better with your time when you automated your business, correct? So that's how it gave you more time to spend with your family and with yourself. And
yeah. So I've been working on automating my business from the beginning, but I was failing at it. Not failing at it. I think that you learn, you try something, it works. You try something else, it doesn't work, and then you shift and then you tweak until you get it right. So for me, it's been working for a while. I have everything automated, my lead generation. I don't have to do much right now in terms of marketing because it's all automated. But what changed specifically this year is that I hired a few people in my team. So now, for example, sales calls, I don't do any sales calls anymore. thank God. So I have somebody that takes 100% care of that. And what I didn't notice before, I didn't know, was that that was taking a lot of my time, because the way that I have built my business, I have around anywhere between 8 to 10 sales calls a week. And that would mean around 8 to 10 hours on the phone a week, and then having to follow up or having to send emails. And it really took a lot of my time. So when I hired a salesperson that would exclusively take care of those calls, it was like, oh my God. And actually what happened, and I like telling this to people because people always are surprised, is that it freaked me out at first. At first I was like, I have too much time. This is very weird.
Oh my God.
You know, because I had been working so hard for such a long time, all day long, without stopping, without eating lunch sometimes. It was just like nonstop on the computer. And now it's like, okay, it's 1 p.m., it's 2 p.m., and I'm done. Like, I don't have anything else to do today. What? This is crazy. So that was a little bit hard to get used to. And then now I'm like,
that's fun.
I'm done. I'm not doing more.
I feel you. That is awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. You have so much time. You're like, oh my God. Or when because I have that with my 3 kids, all of a sudden, like when my mom, you know, it's like, okay, I'm taking all 3 of your kids. And it's like, all of a sudden I'm by myself in the house. I'm like, what's going on? You know?
Yeah. And then, but obviously right now what I do with, with having more time is I can spend it more with my daughter and play more with her, and, you know, go to the park or go to the pool or whatever, you know, and that's been a really big blessing for me.
So you have a specific mommy daughter time, and
yeah, I mean, it's not like it's scheduled or anything, but yes, you know, I try in the afternoons. I always pick her up from school in the afternoon, so, you know, it's kind of like my husband takes her to school in the morning, I pick her up in the afternoons, and then it's just us hanging out a little bit in the afternoon and playing. And then it depends on the day, because if I had to get a few things done, or I have some client calls in the afternoon, obviously I had to take care of that. And my husband is the one that takes care of her in the afternoon when that happens. Mm-hmm. Depending, right? Because if he's doing a concert or he's on tour or anything like that, obviously I have to do it myself. But when he's home, he's the one that supports me with that. So we kind of balance things like that. So yeah.
Beautiful. So what is your advice to moms that are fearing in a way, or that have those big dreams and they want to take that next step, or like what do you advise them? And if it's possible to create and live your dream life while having a business?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think that, you know, it's funny. I feel like the fear, the fear and the blocks and all those things are in our head. Really, it's not anything that's actually real. You know, what happened with me was I didn't really grow up with this type of example, right? My parents are amazing. My mom is incredible. But the majority of women in my family and friends of my parents, they're stay-at-home moms. So I didn't really grow up, or if they have a career, right? The ones that had a career were women who were still like, okay, I have a career, but the star of the family is the husband, right? Who has this business and has this whatever, and they're this. That's how I grew up. And in Latin culture, it's very common. So for me, getting over that in my head and being like, wait a minute, what if we can both be stars? What if we can both make a lot of money and be really successful? That was a little bit of hard to get over. Mm-hmm. But what I found is that, you know, I always think of how incredible it's going to be for my daughter that she's growing up with this as the normal thing, right? Being normal for her to see her mom working. And she really understands it. I actually have a video of her when she was like, I don't know, maybe a year old, on a laptop, just like typing, right? He's imitating me. And I thought that is so cool that she's seeing this as an example. And still there's still a balance, because I'm working from home. Mm-hmm. I'm working, but it's not like I'm away all day and she doesn't see me, but she's right there with me, you know? Mm-hmm. So I really feel like it's a very powerful, you know, I'm a very powerful role model for her. And now I have a daughter. I'm pregnant right now. I have 3 that it's a boy. So if it's a boy, same thing. I don't know yet, but I'm
just saying.
I feel like it's still a really great, powerful example for him to see this as normal for women too, you know, and seeing both, like we have my husband and I have a very different, like, you know, life in terms of what's like quote unquote normal. We don't have a corporate job, either one of us. We work from home most of the time. My husband's here, you know, and my office, it's half is me, and then that side there's a piano, there's like a little recording studio there, and I'm working and he's recording, and it's kind of like craziness, but you know, that's what my kids are going to grow up with. That's going to be normal for them. So I really feel like it's such a beautiful and powerful example for them that they can do anything that they want. And being able to have that for myself, to have that, you know, like, wow, I built this. Like my business has been really successful. I'm on the path to building, probably hitting $1 million within the next year, right? And it's like, and I'm doing it from home, you know. It's perfect. It's perfect. So obviously the dream life is absolutely like beyond possible. It's completely possible. But the limit is in our head. Is us thinking like, wait, that's impossible. That's too difficult. Or who am I to be doing this? Or like, you know, who am I to be dreaming more? And why not? You know?
Why not? Exactly. Let's shift those like these old stories, like throw them in the trash and just like, you know, actually like get us surrounded by amazing people that are doing it, they're living it, they're like creating it. Just, you know, be influenced by people that are living their dream life. That's what I love. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Fabi. And I cannot wait for the next generations to come, because they are being influenced by amazing people that are changing the whole normal thing, as you say, that
right.
This is our new normal. And I love it. I truly love it.
I totally agree.
So you want to share some information about your free gift you're giving out? And
yes.
When we close up?
Yes. So the free gift that I have for you guys is a really, really great guide that I created. That's called 10 Ways to Position Yourself as an Authority. So it's really, really amazing. And it's going to give you all these little tips and ideas of how to position yourself as an authority online. So you can find it. Well, I'm sure you're going to share the link, but it's fabipaolini.com/10 and number -ways.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's where you can find it. And then you can find anything about me or what I'm doing everywhere as Fabi Paolini or fabipaolini.com, or in my social media, just look for Fabi Paolini.
And your amazing work. I love it.